Shalom, shalom. Brakatah Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Shem Kakadash. Peace, salutations to all the brothers out here pushing this truth. This is I guess this will be a response to, I don't even know this pastor name, but I just know everybody be flying to Atlanta to see the sassy pastors and all that. So this will be a response to the last video I just did, right? So a person who is waking up to the truth, if you will, right? A few people sent it to me, right? So one of the Israelites, Akim, sent it to me, but also a person who's waking up to the truth was like, hey, I just literally watched your breakdown with the scriptures, and this pastor literally just did what I just said, what I just said that they were going to do, right? So with that being said, I'm going to play the video and I'm going to get right into it. They don't know that the Most High is literally talking about them. So watch this. The last video I did, I'll just make this part 2 about those who not following, right, the commandments, the laws, or the diet. I'll target it. The dietary laws of the Most High. Yes, there is judgment in it, right? Because they're putting poison in the food. They're putting that mRNA vaccine inside the foods. What they putting it in is not even food. I used the wrong word. It's not food. They're putting it inside pork, shrimp, lobster, crab, abominable food. Abominable things that we're not supposed to eat because the Most High never called it food. So let me continue. Let me play this and we going to get directly into it. Let me play this. Now, go back and watch the last video. If you haven't, this is going to make sense. It's going to ring a bell. Let me play this.
Can't have earrings, can't wear makeup, can't go to the movies, can't eat this food, can't eat this pork. Man, you're going to hell if you got a rip in your jeans. God forbid your knee is sticking out. You can only worship on the Sabbath or Saturday. I remember when I was a Muslim, you can't eat this pork, you got to pray 5 times a day, and all this stuff. The Lord said nothing that goes in you defiles you. Only what comes out of a man defiles him.
You remember I just said that in the last video. Pay attention, right? Remember I said they're going to say that, but I'm going to keep playing it and I'm going to get into it.
That's what Jesus said. Like, you create all these man-made laws to choke the life out of people, and then you put God's name on that.
That's Christianity.
We live in this time right now when we listen to people who create man-made traditions that strap heavy burdens to your life that you can't even fulfill them, and then they...
That's Christianity. I don't even want to give this devil that much more time to speak. That's Christianity. They create man-made traditions like Christmas, birthdays, New Year's, Halloween, Thanksgiving. They create, he's literally like, oh my, you have to, they call it the American dream because you literally have to be asleep to believe it. You have to be deaf, dumb as a doorknob to not understand that don't they call it, a lot of people like to say they have to tell us the truth. He's telling you the truth right in your face. But most people who hear this, they're in their emotions. And you hear all the people in the background, it's mostly women. That's what the black church is full of, mostly women. Silly women laden with sins, like the scriptures say. I'm going to let them keep going for a few more seconds.
God's name on them, and they not in the book. Y'all be strapped with all of these traditions and religion and all this stuff that God didn't even tell you to do. Some of y'all be grieving your own self over God ain't even mad at. Some of y'all break a fast and you think God be mad. You think because you was busy and you missed your quiet time, you think God is mad.
We gonna get right into it, okay? So he said, you can't wear earrings, you're going to hell. You can't do this. Man, the Most High gave the daughters of Zion, right? He gave y'all earrings, nose rings, anklets, bracelets. Nowhere it says that. You notice he said when he was a Muslim, right? The Most High gave y'all all that stuff. Whoever said you can't wear that? Now, let's get to what he's talking about, because here's what they do. See, one thing about the Israelites, we do not run from the scriptures. So, I don't know if this was in a response to my video, because the heathen, this devil here, by the way, y'all finna find out a lot of these pastors and these fake organizations and some of the camp leaders, if you will, y'all finna find out they sassy. Y'all finna find out they're power bottoms. As some of y'all finding out lately. Y'all finna find out really the truth. Right? You shouldn't trust no dude in Atlanta anyway, especially if he ain't in the truth. They all sassy. Anyway, let's get right into it. Right? He said The Lord said, right? His name Yahushua, but he said Jebus. He said it's not what goes into the mouth, but what comes out. So we don't run from these scriptures. We're going to go directly to it, and we're going to read it for ourselves. See, he just standing up there talking with a microphone in his ear, and everybody listening, but ain't no scriptures on the board or nowhere. So let's go. Let's go read it ourselves, and you're going to see what I stated in the last video. The Lord Yahushua was talking about washing of cups, pans, and pots. Now, for context, right? We're going to start. It's Mark chapter 7. This is what they love to quote. But we're going to get into it with our context clues, comprehension skills, and critical thinking. And we're going to expose the lie that he just stated. Okay, Mark chapter 7, right? We'll start at verse 1. Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes which came from Jerusalem, right? So these are Israelites, right? And when they saw some of his disciples, so at the key point, it's the Lord Yahushua and the disciples, right? Everybody was coming to Jerusalem for a holy day. Everybody was coming in to eat. They were just walking in, having a kickback, barbecue, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Right? Verse 2. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is to say, with unwashed hands, they found fault. You know how everybody want to have a fault with the Israelites. Well, you used to eat pork when you was 5 years old. So they would just, you ever been around some people and they just try to look and find something wrong with you. They just try to look and find something, right? That's what they saying. They saw some of his disciples and they was defiled. Why? Because they walked into the house and they just grabbed some food and didn't wash their hands. They came from outside. Y'all smell like outside. And they grabbed some food without washing their hands. That's the initial charge in the chapter. Keep that in mind. For the Pharisees and all the Hebrews, so the Pharisees will be today's Christians, by the way, and we'll break that down, right? For the Pharisees and all the Hebrews, except they wash their hands off, eat not, holding to the tradition of the elders. Keep in mind, that's the tradition of the elders. That's your big mama and your mama and them. Y'all gonna come in here and eat. Everybody go in there and wash their hands. That's for the elders. That ain't written in the law of Yahweh Shem Yahushua nowhere. And there's a whole book in Leviticus and Deuteronomy on the law of cleanliness. Tell you how to clean, wipe your butt, do all that. Remember the Hebrew people, right? The Negroes, right? And some people might say the Moors, same thing, taught the world how to bathe and clean because it came from the law. And that's another cut. If the law ain't in effect, why you bathing and washing then? Anyway, verse 4. And when they come from the market, so they came from the store, right? From Publix, H-E-B, etc. Except they wash, they eat not. And many other things there be, which they have received to hold as the washing of cups and pots, brazen vessels and tables. Baby, can you get the dinner table ready? Right? They gonna wash the forks, the spoons, the this, etc., right? How your big mama and them do? You had that one cup, you need to keep it all day. Just go in there and rinse it out. That's it, right? Then the Pharisees and the scribes asked, why walk not the disciples according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? In other words, y'all walk around like y'all Israelites, y'all so high and mighty. Your disciples just walked in here and grabbed a piece of cornbread and chicken off the stove, but they ain't washed their hands. What you got to say now, Lord? They was talking to Yahushua. They was trying to, you'll find somebody that's constantly poking at you. They were trying to put pins in his shoulder. Now watch, in red letters. Remember, he said, that's what Jesus said. So let's get what he said. He answered and said unto them, it's in red letters. Well, Isaiah prophesies of you hypocrites. Like, bro, y'all hypocrites. As it is written, these people honor me with their lips like that Christian pastor. You honor me with your lips, but your heart is far from me. You honor me, I'm saved, I'm sanctified, yada, 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 but your heart far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me. Y'all think you worshiping the creator of heaven and earth, but you not. You worshiping Zeus. Like they did in Corinthia and Galatia and Thessalonia and Ephasia, because he was on the altar of Pergamos. Let me start over. Mark 7:7. Howbeit in vain they worship me. You're teaching for the doctrines, the commandments of men. Remember, that's a commandment from the elders. The Most High didn't give that commandment. How many of us, when you were little, you ran into the house, your mama in there cooking, you grab you a piece of chicken, grab one of them legs off the stove and run back outside? You just came from playing football, throwback tackle, dodgeball, and you grabbed that piece of chicken, that piece of cornbread, and you ran outside real quick with a napkin and you scarfed it down before she saw you. Did you wash your hands? No. Did you die? No, you didn't die. This is what the Lord is answering. He's saying, bro, you bothering me because they walked in and said, dang, sister, let me grab one of them beef ribs real quick. Let me grab one of them real quick. Let me grab one of them pieces of chicken, one of them tender strips real quick. That's what he's answering. Let's get it. Right? Verse 8. For laying aside the commandment of Yahweh, of God, so you laying aside the law of God, because the Lord was still alive, they were still keeping the law. So you laying aside the law of God, of Yahweh, yet you hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups and many other such things like you do. Christmas, birthday, New Year. He's saying, bro, what? Like, they just saying they came in. How many of us do this? You just wash the dishes. You put away clean cups, knives, plates, spoons in the cabinet. And only Negro people do this. Only black people do this, if you will. You come in, the disciples just came in and grabbed the plate and made them a plate. How many of us do this? You come in out the pantry, out the cabinet, and you grab a plate down. What the first thing we do in a cup? You run water on it and wash it out anyway. You just washed it yesterday. It's clean. The disciples just opened the cabinet, got a plate, got a cup, and put food on top. And they like, look, them niggas just ate. They ain't even rinse it off first. The Lord looked at them like, bro, you gotta be kidding me. Didn't Sister Johnson, right? Sister Williams just wash it out yesterday, last night, this morning? Stop playing with me. That's what he's saying, right? Look at verse 9. And he said unto them, full well you reject the commandment, you reject the law of Yahweh, that you may keep your own tradition. That's your own tradition. Now, the next 3 verses, as y'all can see on the screen, he's not answering the original, well, he's answering the original charge, but remember, it's the disciples. This is a cut to every Christian. They run to Mark 7. Mark was not the only disciple there. Were there not 12 disciples? So let's go to the other disciples and get the full breakdown. Like Luke was a physician. They're detailed. That's why Luke got so many different verses, 70 verses in one chapter almost, right? He got so many different verses, he's detailed. So Mark was there, Luke was there, Bartholomew was there, they all was there, right? Matthew was there. This is what they run from. See, Israelites, we don't run from these scriptures. We going right back to Matthew 15. Now watch the Lord tell you when he says it's not what goes into the mouth, right? But what comes out, and watch what he's talking about, right? Notice it's the same thing. Matthew chapter 15, verse 1. They all was sitting there, so they all wrote firsthand accounts, right? So let's get all 12 witnesses statements, right? All 12. Verse 1. Then came to Yahushua, the scribes and the Pharisees, which were at Jerusalem. Notice we're repeating the same thing. Why do the disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? Remember, tradition of the elders. That ain't a law or commandment of Yahweh. For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. See that? Verse 3. But he answered and said unto them, see, the Lord Yahushua is going back at him. Why do you also transgress the commandment of Yahweh by your tradition? Why you keeping Christmas and Halloween and this? Why you transgressing it? Don't see, we not on the hot seat. The Israelites, the disciples, the prophets, we're not on the hot seat. Y'all on the hot seat. Y'all just don't know it. Now watch. Verse 4. For Yahweh commanded, saying, honor your mother and your father, and he that curses his father or his mother, let him die. Now, getting into this, before I read through it, during this time, same as people do today, our men had multiple wives, because that's not a sin to have multiple wives. You're not breaking a commandment or a law. But the Lord Yahushua was letting them know that, hey, your father got other wives and other children. But when your daddy died, you get the insurance money or the inheritance, and you only taking care of the ones that came from your mama. So he was getting on to them saying, hey, so let's say Mary had the Lord Yahushua, right? But Joseph had other children from other wives. He said, hey, when I pass, you need to take this money and take care of your other brothers and sisters. But what we do today, you die, you split it between, well, you and your sister that came out your mama. That's unlawful. That's what he's saying. So let me get into it. Verse 4, right? Well, I just read verse 4, right? I'm going to read it again. For Yahweh commands, saying, honor the father and the mother, and that he that curses his father and his mother, let him die. Verse 5, but you say, so he going back at her like, but y'all niggas say, whosoever shall say to his father or his mother, it is a gift by whatsoever thou mightst be profited by me. Meaning, nah, bro, my daddy died and left me the car, left me the house, left me this. You supposed to split that with all his children, even the ones that live in another city or another state. Who are you? All the children come from the father. You don't just take care of the ones that come out of your mama. This is what the Lord was getting on to them about. He wasn't getting on to them for having multiple wives. He was getting on to them. He's saying, what are y'all doing? Y'all breaking the law. That's Numbers chapter 36. Right? When your father passed, you're supposed to spread that wealth. It starts from the men on down. You don't just keep it for you and the ones that came out of your mama. Right? Verse 6. And honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus you have made the law, the commandment of Yahweh, none effect by your tradition. Look at society today. Who the beneficiary? Right? That one beneficiary, your sister, your wicked aunt, wicked cousin, get to decide what to do with all the inheritance. That's unlawful. And don't let it be a woman. She going to operate off her feelings. That's unlawful. You're supposed to go to the highest ranking male that's of the father's seed or the grandfather's seed. That's who it's supposed to go to. Right? Now, let's get back to the food. See, I'm reading it through so you can get full context. You see in Mark chapter 7, Mark didn't include that. So there was a whole conversation that was being had at this table. It wasn't just about washing their hands and stuff. Let's keep going. Verse 7. Now he's picking up what Mark picked up. This was Mark 7:7. Right? Ye hypocrites. Well, did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, the people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Y'all recall, we just read that, right? Now here we go. But in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Same thing we've been talking about. Get in there and wash your hands. Now watch. And he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand. Pay attention. So this was so critical that the Lord Yahweh called everybody over that was there in Jerusalem, said, man, everybody come here. And you hear me good. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. Verse 11. This is what that wicked Christian pastor just uttered out of his mouth. But watch. He didn't tell you everything the Lord said, because he know most people don't read. And all those women was in there screaming, was listening for their emotions, but no scriptures on the board. Matthew 15:11. I'm going to go slow. Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth the man, but that which come out of the mouth defileth the man. He's saying it ain't what go in, right? It's what comes out, right? So saying you could wash your hands, you run there, grab that piece of chicken, that piece of cornbread, right? That piece of beef rib or whatever, you ain't wash your hands, you didn't die. You gonna just eat it, pee it out, and go take a boo-boo, diarrhea, whatever. You gonna just boo-boo it out. So what, your hands got a little dirty? How many men work on cars and come straight home and they still got a little oil and all that under their fingernails after they shower? They sit there and eat with their family. They don't die. That's all he's saying. Verse 12, watch this. Then came the disciples and said unto him. So the disciples came to the Lord Yahweh and says, hey, knowest thou that the Pharisees were offended after they heard this saying? So the disciples, after the Lord Yahweh called everybody over, his homeboys, the disciples came to him and said, you know them niggas was over there mad. They was mad. They was offended when you just laid into them. You know them niggas felt some type of way. That's what they was saying. You notice that the Pharisees was offended after you said that. Now watch verse 13. Look what Lord Yahweh said. He answered and said, every plant which my heavenly Father Yahweh had planted, right, had not planted, shall be rooted up. Meaning he's talking to the Pharisees. These are the modern day Christians. He's saying, look, they got no good seed in them. They ain't got no root. Every plant which Yahweh had not planted shall be rooted up. He didn't plant them, though. They planted by the government. Watch this. Look at this. Let them be alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. So this pastor, this wicked pastor at that 5811, the Lord Yahweh just said, bro, leave him alone. They blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. So when people come in and we say, there won't be one person from the Satanic Roman Catholic Christian Church that make it out, it's because the Lord just said so. He said the both gonna fall into a ditch. Right? Now watch this. Notice how many verses we going. We're going to go down by 4 more verses. The heart of a man. This is why people say, I can eat what I want. It ain't but go into your mouth. Watch this. Verse 15. Notice, Mark is there. Peter is there. Bartholomew, the 12 disciples are there. Look at verse 15. Then Peter, we're reading from the book of Matthew, but Matthew writing what Peter talked about. Then answered Peter and said unto him, hey, hold on. Wait a minute. Declare unto us this parable. Now, look how the Lord Yahweh shall talk. Remember, it got to a point to where the disciples was afraid to ask him questions because he was austere. Matthew 15 and 16. Yahweh shall said, are you also without understanding? Meaning, bro, I've been sitting here talking all day. Nigga, you still don't understand and you with me every day? That's like somebody living in a house with me, right? Son, daughter, right? Wife, etc. And they don't understand this truth? Oh, you got to go. How can you live with, you could be around Yahweh all day, every day? He's saying, Peter, bro, you don't understand this? Are you without understanding too? You just around me for my looks? That's what he's saying. Verse 17. Do not you yet understand? He questioned him again. You see how he getting quick lip with Peter? You on yet again. That whatsoever enter the mouth goeth into the belly. Listen, satanic plant, wicked pastor of 5811. Do you not yet understand that whatsoever enter in at the mouth goeth into the belly? Whatever you eat, drink, it's going to go into your stomach and cast out into the drawer. He's saying, you don't understand that? Whatever you eat, he's talking physically. Whatever you eat, it's going to go into your stomach and you're going to poop it out. Now, he ain't talking about you can eat whatever you want, because the original charge was they not washing their hands. Verse 18, but those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, right? And they defile a man. He's saying, so whatever you say, right? Things like that. That's what defile you. You know how they say, drunk men and children tell the truth? Oh yeah, you've been thinking about that. You've been envying me. You've been doing this. Yeah, that's going to defile you. Watch this. Verse 19. For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murderers, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witnesses, and blasphemies, like that pastor just did. But watch this. This a cut. These are the things which defile a man. Now, watch this. He says, but to eat with unwashed hands defile it not a man. He went back and answered the original charge at hand. In verse 2, why do the disciples transgress the tradition of the elders, for they wash not their hands when they eat bread? He didn't say you can eat whatever you want. You can eat pork, shrimp, lobster, crab. It ain't going to defile you. No. Back down to it. Back down to verse 20. These are the things which defile a man. But to eat without washing your hands, bro, we all did that as children. That's the context when the Lord says, it's not what goes into the mouth, what come out. So I can eat what I want. No, absolutely not. And he cleared that up several times. Like, I don't know why. See, this is why we go so hard. Because these devils get on here like that wicked pastor, and they fool these easily deceived wicked women. That's why it's number of women that flock to that man church. Because the Most High didn't get them the understanding of the scriptures. So they go there and feel off their emotions and how people look. Right? Again, Matthew chapter 5 and 17. Think not I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. There's prophecies left to fulfill. Verse 18 again. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, if you still got to wake up and go to work, put gas in your car, cook, clean, do the dishes, clean out the bathtub, do your sons and daughters' hair, if heaven and earth still here, one jot or one tittle shall no wise pass from the law to all be fulfilled. If the Lord still got to come back and deliver you to the kingdom of heaven, all ain't fulfilled. Right? And so this is what happens, right? Let me get into that. Let me get into that because I just mentioned that. Right, here we go. Now, this is them. Difficult times will come. 2 Timothy chapter 3, and we're going to get out of here. Verse 1. This know also that in the last days, right, perilous times shall come, which is right now. For men shall be lovers of their own selves. Take a selfie. Scroll down every woman Instagram page, Facebook page, right? YouTube page is pictures of themselves. Eating, clear picture of that picture that clear canoe on the water. They all take the same thought photos. They all go to Jamaica or to the islands and let random horny dudes rub white lotion and suntan lotion on their legs. Their followers, they all do the same sick thing. It's laughable. Right? Right? Boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. Unholy means unlawful. They're going to be lawless, right? Without natural affection, right? Because a woman's natural use is to have children. Take care of them. Not unalive them, get rid of them before they pop out. Not wait until you 35, 38, setting your career 40 and you ain't even got one child. No. Right? Without natural affection. Truce breakers, false accusers, right? Incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Those that are good are the Israelites. Me, other ox out here. They despise us. They hate us. They don't want to hear it. Right? Now, we finna get right to it. Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yahweh. Because if you love me, keep my law. If you love me, keep my commandments. That's what it means. They have a form of godliness, like that satanic wicked pastor you just saw. He got a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such, you turn away. Now, guess who don't turn away? Walk into every single so-called black Christian church. Here's what you're going to see. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins. Blonde hair, fake eyelashes, makeup, face beat, pants. Remember he said that? Yeah, he know. They going to walk into your house. They going to run your house. They going to take control of your son. You're going to be going to Hillsong Church, Joel Osteen Church, one community churches scattered all over the world. They're going to lead away silly women laden with sins, laden with law breaking. They don't know nothing, right? Led away with diverse lusts. Verse 7 is the key, and I'm going to get out of here. And all those women he's talking about, they're ever learning. They're going to know everything about how to do discounts, how to shop on Shein, right? Amazon. They're going to know about manifesting vision boards. They forever learning. They learning everything and never, keyword never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Why? Because like in the book of Job, what he told Job, he said, man, hey, I deprive all women until the Lord comes of wisdom. So they ain't supposed to lead or run your household. It's that simple. In the end times, your women going to prophesy, meaning they going to have a dream. Have a vision. You listen, hear that dream, and you apply it to the scriptures, and you measure time diligently within itself with what they said. It must match the scriptures. That's it. He deprived them of wisdom. Right? So they're forever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth, of the law. Look at this guy. Now let's repeat what he said. He said, oh, matter of fact, let's get that. He said, silly traditions. He said, y'all stuck and you locked in by these silly traditions. Here's a silly tradition, right? Christmas. You can't get them away from Christmas. This was 1,500 years before the Lord was born. The Most High told the Israelites, do not celebrate Christmas. Do not celebrate Saturnalia. Do not celebrate Nimrod Day. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which Yahweh spoke unto you, O house of Israel. Only the Israelites. Thus said Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathens, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. A lot of y'all seeing chariots right now. Don't be dismayed, right? They're my ancestors in there. They're my forefathers. They're the angels of Yahweh. For the heathen are dismayed at them. Verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain. Here's your Christmas. One cutteth the tree out of the forest. You walk to the forest, take the axe, right? The work of the axe in the hands of the workmen with the axe. They go into the forest, they chop that tree down, right? They bring it back into their house. Verse 4, they deck it with silver and gold and fasten it with nails to the floor with hammers that it move not. It's upright like a palm tree, but speak not. That's Christmas. It's an abomination. That's what's mentioned in Isaiah chapter 66 and in Isaiah chapter 55. I covered it in the last video. This guy is wicked. He is a plant. He is a plant. He's here to deceive you and to lead away silly women laden with sins. So I'm glad he did a response video into what I did. But you don't see no scriptures. So with that, hopefully you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Shalom.